Hey guys, Sascha from Mobile Geeks here. It's I have no idea anymore. Day 1, day 2 of CES. We've been here since last week. And I have someone over here, Julien Blin. And I think, you know what, Julien, why don't you introduce yourself too?
Right, so my name is Julien Blin. I am the co-founder of Geezer, which is a global mobile consultancy firm focusing on wearables. So I'm tracking anything from smartwatches, connected glasses, smart shoes. I'm advising many players in the space. So I'm here to check out what are the new trends, and that's why I'm here.
So what are the new trends at CES? It is wearables, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is wearables, and I think that clearly big players are getting into the space, right? So major OEMs are coming up with their smartwatches, activity trackers. There are speculations that Google will introduce a smartwatch very soon. So you're seeing a lot of competition. But I'm not seeing a lot of differentiation from all those trackers, and I think that's one of the issues, because pretty much what they do, the trackers, like, they're tracking steps and calories, but they're not really telling users, am I getting sick? What does that mean, right? They're connecting a huge amount of data, but really, and the other issue is when those players are coming up with the next version of devices, if they don't get smarter and more intelligent, I think that you're going to see people giving up on those devices. So they need either to work and build some platform, like a wearable 2.0 platform, to make the devices smarter or internally, or they're going to have to work with third-party companies like Giro, which is a Russian startup coming up with a wearable 2.0 platform to do that. So I think they're fully aware of that. Otherwise, you might see some, again, return rate of the going up, and they don't want that.
I agree with you. Somehow all these trackers that are out there, whether we're using a Fitbit or Jabon or whatever, these are basically like digital pedometers.
Right.
And I've been using a Fitbit. Actually, I lost like over 10 kilos
last year
on a Fitbit. It was all about visualization of my data. That I can actually, I know that I have to move my ass to lose weight. Right? We all know this.
It's a no-brainer, right?
It's a no-brainer. But what I like was this kind of gamification that came with it when I connected it to my Facebook, and I saw all my other Facebook friends also using it. It was motivating.
Yeah.
But besides that, I mean, this isn't rocket science at all. This is just very plain pedometer, accelerometer data that they're collecting, and that's about it.
Well, now there are some activity trackers that are kind of moving in that direction. So I don't know if you know of a company called Amigo. Amigo is, they got funded through Kickstarter. They actually raised money from VCs after that. But I was just talking to the CEO yesterday, and basically they're going to start shipping their devices very soon. But the whole point of the Amigo bracelet is that you can actually track over 100 activities. You know whether you're swimming, you're running, it's very precise. But the nice thing is that they analyze the data, and they compare your data with other users, your friends, even professional athletes. So they can, at the end of the day, they can provide you with a personalized workout. It's very impressive.
So it's basically telling me each and every day how much I suck when it's comparing it to a professional
Absolutely.
athlete. I like this idea. But are you comfortable in wearing an additional hardware, an additional device, an additional wristband? I mean, we've been talking about these smartwatches. They're all over the place right now here at CES.
So
and I would love to have this integrated in my smartwatch. I don't want to have an additional. I have this Fitbit one, so I even have to wear it on at my belt, and I lost one already.
I think you made a very good point. I think you're going to see at some point the emergence of hybrid smartwatches that are going to be able to track your biometric data, calories and steps, but at the same time, you're going to be able to do more than that, right? Have like an application like the Pebble Watch, and potentially control everything in your house. And that's what Apple, apparently with the iWatch, they're trying to do. They're trying to control everything from the AC, the lights, your home appliances, your TV, everything. But that's going to require to build the ecosystem. Anyway, that's a separate discussion. But to your point, there's a need to consolidate those two categories, which are smartwatches and activity tracker, into one category. But I think right now you're going to see what I call the battle of the wrist. So one is going to be the battle for the smartwatch.
What are you wearing here?
I'm wearing the Basis watch.
Okay.
So you can track things like steps and calories, even the skin temperature.
Nice.
And there's an application that gets synced to your smartphone. They also have a very nice desktop application. I love it. You got kind of a daily summary, weekly summary of your how you're doing. But again, they are not really going to the point where you're going to diagnose you with some diseases like diabetes and Alzheimer's, like the Giro platform that I mentioned earlier. But I think that's coming. I think they're aware of the limitations. So yeah.
Is it safe to say that 2014 will be somehow the year of wearables? Well, not only the year of smart. I've been writing a couple of articles saying, you know, it's going to be the year of the smartwatch, and especially when Apple is entering the market.
Right.
Because oh my God, and I've been even publishing this on Google Plus. I can't imagine what happened over there with me. They've got them crucifying me for just writing a very positive article about Apple. But I think we have to face it. This company, in my opinion, when Apple comes up with this iWatch, or whatever they're going to call it, it should be iWatch. This will be more of a kind of smart jewelry approach, and this is something that is missing here.
Right.
I mean, when you look at the basis watch, I mean, it does what it has to do for you.
Right.
But is it smart jewelry? Is it very aesthetic? Is it really good looking? You might not gonna say that. Right? It's the same when you see this what Pebble is doing now with their second generation. This is about smart jewelry. Because before that, I remember when I went somewhere in a prop in Taiwan, people were asking, wow, that's an interesting watch. Where's this weather vision coming from?
Right.
And what is this 55%? I said, oh yeah, that's a status of my phone, of the battery of my phone. So, oh, what is it? It's a smartwatch. But with the next generation of the Pebble, I think you will just turn it around, because people will say, wow, that's a beautiful watch. And you can say, oh, it's even a smartwatch.
Yep. I think so going back to your point earlier, I think this year, I think we're definitely seeing more awareness. If you go back, last year, what happened is, Google was a big, it really helped the market, first of all, in terms of awareness. And then you saw the, success stories like the Pebble, and of course Samsung got into the market, and they really make a big impact. You could agree that they haven't really gained that much traction as a major OEM.
Well, it was important to open this market.
Absolutely. So what you're going to see this year, if Apple gets into the market, is going to really, help everybody, right? The competition, because Apple is probably going to be at the high end. They're not going to be cheap. They're going to have a very nice. They really want to be. The iWatch, I think, has to be a piece of jewelry. I think they're very much aware of that. And to your point about the design, Pebble really did a good job. I mean, they're not stupid. They know what they have to work on. The design needs to get better, right? So I think what you're going to see also is some watchmakers getting into the market, because they have the expertise. They know how to make beautiful watches. I had a discussion yesterday with the CEO of MetaWatch. That you can actually check their watch. They have a very nice, beautiful design. They're even coming up with their own brand called the Meta brand. So, and the CEO of that company actually is coming from Fossil.
Okay.
So he understands what it takes to really build a beautiful device.
Plus, these brands, they have completely different distribution channels.
Right.
I mean, I think we have like 6 or 7 Rolex shops in Taipei, which is insane.
Really?
Right? And then you have these Fossil guys, and then you have Seiko, Casio, whatever, right? When these guys are entering the smartwatch market, they're going to be at each and every corner. And that's where it's getting interesting for us in the future. And of course also for developers. About time we're getting some standards, I guess.
I think what's going to be important, you're going to see more smartwatch vendors coming up with their own app stores, their own ecosystem, which is what Pebble is doing already. And Samsung is going to do, I mean, they already have their own app store, but they're going to grow and attract developers to build native applications for the Gear Watch. I think that you're going to see increased competition from the Chinese vendors that are going to really put pressure on those, the Samsung and the Apple, and but the quality is not going to be as good, and that's okay. And also think that you're going to see what I called bring your own wearable device trend. So you're going to see IT managers trying to accommodate people with their own smartwatch or their own activity tracker. So let's say you could have a company who's going to partner with an insurance company, and they're going to, if I'm taking care of myself, I might be able to pay less for my medical insurance. Or let's say if I'm using a smartwatch using a 3G connectivity on it, maybe my employer might subsidize and pay for my 3G plan on it. If I'm using that as a personal and professional device. So I think that's coming too.
I like this idea. I remember like 3 or 4 years ago, I've met with the Qualcomm E&M Health Group, and they were running. They've had a little sense. I think it was a badge with an accelerometer in there.
Yeah.
And they had an internal ranking, and this was all about creating a competition.
Right.
In this division, so that people are going to, instead of using the escalators or the elevators, and taking the stairs. The more steps you got, the higher you got up on the ranking, and it was always visible in their office. They just huge screen, and you saw this. I think this is very, very interesting to, like you mentioned already, right? Insurance companies will be all about this.
Mm-hmm.
We already have very, very customized insurances for our cars, right? So
right.
You can kind of customize it to your specific needs.
Right.
Like I'm saying, I'm the only one that is driving this car. Here is my record. I never had an accident for the last 10 years. Seeing insurance companies telling you, if you're going to wear this device 24/7, we're going to give you 30% off.
Right.
And I like this idea. And this will be. It's not crucial for this market, but with these kind of infrastructures, I think we will reach a completely different user base.
Mm-hmm.
Because then, you will also attract people that would never even wear a smartwatch.
Absolutely. That they have an incentive to do that now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, and you mentioned connected cars, so they're already, you can buy devices provided, I think, by insurance companies, so that you would actually pay less for good driving behaviors.
Yeah.
It's already out there.
Yeah.
Right, so.
And it's happening also with the wearables. What do you think of we're talking about smartwatches. They're going to be all over the place. We have all these trackers, Fitbit, Jawbone, and whatnot. There are like 10 or 20 different ones in the market, at least. What are you making out of these smart glasses? What do you think about Google Glass, or what we saw from Recon? Or
well, I think there's room for everybody. I think you're seeing sub-segments in the connected glasses space, right? So there's different categories in my opinion. There is, let's say, the sports-oriented glasses like the Recon glasses as one. You have the social networking-oriented types of glasses like the telepathy glasses. It's a Japanese, US companies. And that's another one. There's also the glasses focusing on notifications, which is Google Glass. Although you could argue that they can do more, but I'm just saying it's very good for that particular purpose.
Right.
And then you also have the glasses focusing on enterprise, B2B, like the Motorola HC1. Yeah. It's a higher price point, but in enterprise they can afford to pay a higher premium. Yeah. So and then also some other glasses like the Orcam glasses that are for people with disabilities, people who can't see. So I think there's room for everybody. You're going to see some sub-segments. Now, what's going to be important is going to be the pricing. And I don't want to speculate on how much Google Glass are going to cost, but I think if they don't reach an affordable price point, that's going to be an issue to drive volume. The other thing is app ecosystem. You're going to need those vendors to really open up the API to attract developers to create, because the developers are going to be the one creating great applications for that, right? Distribution. That's why I think Google partnered with a company called, or there was some speculation that they would partner with Blueberry. To potentially either buy them or partner with them to leverage their distribution. And promotion and marketing, of course. But I think it's going to take some time to really drive the adoption of the connected glasses. But at the end of the day, if you can create some glasses that are being used for a particular purpose, whether it's for people with disabilities, people who get notification, people who are into cycling and sports, I think it works for everybody. So one size does not fit all.
Yeah,
I would say so.
I was very excited about Google Glass. I've been playing around with them for a couple of days before I finally got mine. And in the first 2 or 3 weeks, I've been wearing them constantly.
Yeah.
And since then, I'm only wearing them on events, because over here it's just very, very useful for me. I'm using our whole team. We're 8 people over here. We are constantly communicating over Google Hangouts, and now I have this Google Hangout.
Really?
And I know what's going on, right? Where are you guys? In which hall are you? Can you come over here and cover this?
It's a great use case.
This is really cool. I love it with Twitter.
Yeah.
So when some retweets or people are tweeting me, it's right there. That's the first generation. I still have a problem because I'm also wearing glasses.
Right.
That this kind of this bone speaker in the back isn't really working for me. So when someone is calling me, it's a huge problem.
Yeah.
But this next generation is a little earplug.
But it's going to get better, right?
Yeah.
Design is going to get better.
I think this is, even though that the hardware is quite old.
Yeah.
Well, this is like 3 or 4 years. I love the display though. Right? This prism display that's projecting the display onto my eye.
Yeah.
That is quite cool. But besides that, this is, even though it's quite old, it is such a prototype. And it would still be a prototype, in my opinion, in 2 years.
Right.
And I think Google really needs to work on this. Also, this My Glass app, that's a mess, right? When I'm scrolling through these apps, they need to open this, and they need to get more apps on there, more interesting apps.
Absolutely.
And I think they shouldn't be so limited. When they said, we don't want to have some augmented reality going on out there, why not?
Well, look at Meta.
Yeah,
right? You're right.
It's about me. It's like telling me what kind of apps I should run on my smartphone that is running Android.
Right. So to your point, I actually forgot to mention the Meta glasses that are focusing on artificial, augmented reality, and they've actually done a good job. If you go to their website, you can submit your idea of an augmented reality application, and I think they had about 500 applications. I'm not sure those are all real applications, but those are at this point. But those are all ideas. Anybody can submit an idea, and I think that's something that Google should be doing, or any Google connected glasses vendors, as a matter of fact.
And Google can do this.
They can, of course they can.
Google. That's pretty much the biggest. When we're talking about connected companies or companies that are connected to the internet,
I think they will.
Do it when Google can. This might change this year. Now the way that they were addressing these Google Music All Access guys.
Right.
They got their invites for Google Glass, but the price point is still hefty, $1,500.
Right.
For turning you into a little bit of a cyborg.
Right. I think
and basically promoting it, right, and making free.
They've done it. It's free PR for them,
smart.
right?
That's
Very
really
smart. Yeah, right. So they've done it. Well, it was brilliant for them to do that.
And people are curious about this. And each and every person that tried it out, they were blown away. They were blown away by the voice recognition, by the accuracy.
Yeah.
The knowledge graph of Google.
Right.
And this huge amount of data that I can get access to right in front of my eye, because that's where it's happening anyway. Right? When I pull data, right, and I need to read it somehow.
Right.
And now even Glass can read it from me. That's pretty cool. And I was seeing, and plus I think the navigation is a killer. But when do I need turn-by-turn navigation? I don't really need it that often. But when you want it, this is just absolutely
right. Well, I used to work for Samsung, and I think one time I had a discussion with the head of R&D about glasses, and what's important at the end of the day, if you're going to create some connected glasses, the application and the use cases have to be unique to the glasses. There is no point of replicating the same application that you can find on a smartphone today. There's no point. So it's just a matter of leveraging, the display, the sensors, what's really unique about the glasses. So for instance, have you used the Facebook application? Right, so it's very limited, right? So I don't think you can actually click on a link or anything. So imagine a Facebook application on steroids where you could use gesture control. So basically you see a picture on Facebook through the glasses, and you would be able to do a thumbs up, and you can actually like the picture in real time. That's one of the examples.
That's not rocket science.
Right, so I think, and Facebook, by the way, had a hackathon on wearables back in November, right? That's Facebook. So, and they are interested in wearables. So I think you're going to see the emergence of more intelligence, contextual applications for those connected glasses or any other, wearables like trackers and smartwatches.
It's a great translator app, but unfortunately it only comes with like 6 or 7 languages, but it also works offline, which is cool.
Yeah.
But whoever is watching us from Google, could you please bring one out for Mandarin and Chinese? That would be very helpful for me.
Right, absolutely.
And this is a fantastic use, but as you said, this simple gestures, basic perceptual computing ideas, having just a thumbs up, thumbs down, well, okay, that's not going to work on Facebook.
Or even eye detection technology.
Yeah.
So let's say imagine some augmented reality capable glasses where you would be walking inside the hallway, and you would be, or let's say you're doing your groceries, right? You're at the supermarket, and you can see location-based promotions. To get a promotion, right? So not everybody's going to like that, okay? But and what if you could do it indoor and outdoor? Let's say you are going to the Eiffel Tower, and guess what? You'll be able to get a promotion on a bottle of champagne as soon as you get into the restaurant.
It's quite interesting.
Right.
That was my first startup 13 years ago. It was called eWallet.
Right.
At that time, we were just playing around with infrared on the palms.
That's right.
We were thinking about, okay, when I'm just walking down a shopping mall, how do I know where I can get the next big deal here?
Right.
And we try to get it onto the palm.
And you can do indoor mapping, right? You can do it with iBeacon, Blue 4.0. So it's happening today. Right? Apple is really pushing iBeacon, right? So it's possible. It's happening right now.
So we had the smartwatches, we had the trackers, we had smart glasses.
Yeah.
But there's more coming up, right? Well, let's talk about smart clothing. What about smart shirts? What about smart shoes? I think smart shoes going to be absolutely amazing, and smart shirts with sensors in there.
Yeah. So I'm actually advising a smart shoe vendor based out of Canada, in Vancouver, called Plantiga.
Nice.
And what they do is they are building smart shoes with sensors embedded all over the shoe. So basically, they will be measuring the mapping pressure on the shoe. So imagine connecting those smart shoes with an application connected to your smartphone or even connecting glasses.
Yeah.
So let's say you're a golfer, right? You're wearing those smart shoes, and you can get real-time data, like feedback on your posture, your swing, the speed, and you get all the data right through your recon glasses. How about that, right? So that's one great use case in my opinion. You talk about smart clothing. There's a great company in Montreal called Home Signal. They built a smart T-shirt called the Home Signal T-shirt. They raised about $1 million. They're funded, and you can actually measure your stress level, your breathing. You can see it through the application, and it's just mind-blowing to see that. And they have big plans. They want to work with all the major clothing companies. They want to become the underlying technology. I mean, it's a huge market. And there's also another company called Citizens. It's a French startup. They are partnering with soccer teams in France, Saint-Etienne. I don't know if you heard of them.
Yes.
So they partnered with them so that Saint-Etienne were actually using the smart T-shirt, the players.
Wow,
so it's
that's so much interesting data they're going to gather.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's gonna help us a lot in the future. And talking about data, of course, with all these trackers that we're using, with all these sensors.
I think what's missing.
The predictable question. Oh, sorry.
I mean, going back to the point we were making earlier, we are collecting so much data right now, but we need to make sense of it, and that's the key. So I think building a Wearables 2.0 platform capable of analyzing the data, whether it's through an algorithm, a mathematical model, again, what Giro is doing, which is being able to diagnose users with early sign of depression, diabetes.
That's really impressive. Yeah.
So I think that's where the industry is going. Absolutely. And otherwise, at the end of the day, you want to be able to predict that someone is going to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
Right? And I think you can do that. I think it's going to happen. The only question is when. But I think it will happen in the coming years.
That's why I got basically so bored by this buzzword of big data, because this is why we build computers.
Right.
Big data has been always around. It's a matter of what we're doing with this big data.
Absolutely.
And how we're going to analyze it. And you mentioned the Giro guys again. I think we will have somehow their website in here, or at least a link to the video.
Yes.
This was quite impressive, and it took me a while. We had this kind of little talk before we did the video to really get what they're doing with this data, and it's very smart. And I think we need this. There's a market for these companies that are not building hardware, that are not building sensors, but the companies that are professionals, analyzing data.
Right.
Their background is completely different, right? They know how we're going to behave, for example, when we might going to get sick.
Right.
And what kind of data I need to prove this.
Right.
And the more people are using this and are sharing this data, the more accurate it's going to be in the future. And this has, in my opinion, this has the potential to really have a huge impact on our health system.
I think it's going to be a major technology breakthrough. And I think that all the major activity trackers are going to have to jump on it, because if their devices do not get, I would say, smarter, you know, it's a missed opportunity. So and I think in the wearable space, you know, if you're a software company like Giro, who's building a wearable 2.0 platform, I mean, they're still at the research stage. You know, as a company focusing on software, the platform, you can have an opportunity to scale much faster, as opposed to working as a hardware company. It's almost like a closed ecosystem. So, and what Giro is doing is they really want to help, and they can help all the vendors out there, right? They're here to help them, help them drive, you know, improve the performance, help them get, you know, very good insights, and really, it can make a big difference. They can help them drive their sales through their sales top line. So, you know, it's one of those companies like Giro who are, I think, really gonna. I think by the time next year, people are going to be talking more about those wearable 2.0 platform like Giro, and not so much about those hardware wearable startups, because I cannot imagine that next year we're still going to be seeing those activity trackers still measuring steps and calories. Something has to happen.
We have a chicken and egg problem.
Right.
We need to create somehow an ecosystem which is starting with the hardware.
Right.
And then sooner or later you will have the right applications and the right tools for this that are really starting to make sense for you.
Right.
Right now, once again, you know, when I'm connecting to my Fitbit homepage, all I see is how many steps I did a day,
right,
and how many floors I climbed, and that's about it. I can see what my friends are doing, which is always a little bit disappointing, at least for me. Then, with all this data, and last but not least, of course, we have to talk a little bit about the privacy concerns.
Absolutely.
How are you handling this? Is it like, you know what, I'm using whatever tracker is around, I want to try it, I want to share my data with them, I want to share it for the good, for, you know what, development,
right,
for science, or are you, I mean, it's, what happened with all these NSA leaks before, it's not like that we were completely unprepared. I think the scary part of this was how ubiquitous this whole thing was, that it was everywhere. Did anything change in your life in terms of sharing data, personal data?
I mean, personally, well, I don't mind sharing my data with those activity trackers. What I don't want is for them to share the data with third-party companies that I'm not aware of, whether it's advertisers, whatever. I think that the user's data, especially when it comes to the health, needs to be protected, you know, and I don't want the data to be in the hands of necessarily my employer, right? It's important to be very open and transparent about how you use the data. I think that's key. So, and providing feedback to the end user about their health, you know, I think that's where you should be. So, but you're right. I mean, there's a lot of data which is being collected, and that needs those vendors have to be very transparent. And you know, you can't share the data with third-party companies that they're not aware of.
They would share it again with insurance companies,
right,
without letting me know. That would be a huge problem,
right?
Or retirement funds or whatever,
right?
And this would be very.
You have to be careful, and here in the U.S., privacy is a big issue. So you have to handle that very carefully.
Yeah, I agree. I was just talking to some people from Mercedes yesterday about if they changed their behavior after all the NSA leaks.
Yeah.
And basically we came to the point we didn't at all, because we are so into the system. It's a matter of habits. It's a matter of laziness.
Right.
And it's a matter of convenience.
Mm-hmm.
We are We are part of. We're going to Facebook each and every day. We're using Google Plus. We're using all these other social networks. The only thing that kind of makes us feel safe is that we think that we are just not interested enough for these surveillance infrastructures to really track us down.
Well, I think we are, we kind of used to share data. Let's say you download an application on your smartphone. First thing is going to ask you, are you aware that it's going to, we're going to be collecting the data? And most people say, okay, yeah, I just click on it. Right. So, because you want to get access to the application, and so anyway, it's always...
It's this deal.
Right.
It's a service free, you're turning into the product sooner or later.
Yeah.
That was absolutely fantastic, Julien. It's great to talk to you about, whatever is going on the wearable market. Where can people actually follow you?
They can follow me at geezworld.com. That's my website, and there's also a Twitter account called geezworldsf. That's my Twitter account. So.
Fantastic. So you're going to head back to the show floor?
Absolutely.
With some new wearables,
that's right.
Smart technology.
Always looking for the next big thing.
That sounds great. So, thank you guys for watching. I'm Sascha from Mobile Geeks. See you later.